expected. This is a split verdict which has been given by the court. We are going to tread very cautiously and get you all the information and details which are coming out from the Supreme Court of India. What I can tell you right now is that 2 judges were on the bench. When there are 2 judges on the bench, each can have a different point of view. One can agree and the other disagrees. In that case, you have a split verdict. What does that mean? That means that the Karnataka High Court order or the final judgment that was given has not been settled by the Supreme Court of India so far. If these kind of split verdict is clearly something that is going to be the norm of the day, that's one scenario we are talking about, then in that case there can be no remedy or recourse for the petitioners. But this is not the final order. We are still waiting for the final order to really come out in this entire matter. These are the different options which exist right now. My colleague Ananya Bhatnagar is reporting from the court. So we'll try and get you more details. I want to cut across back to Harish and get more details on this entire story. Harish, I'm going to tread very cautiously and slowly, waiting for the final orders to come from the Supreme Court of India. Take us through the key arguments that were made during the hearing. And as we move forward, what exactly are the expectations on both the sides?
Well, considering that it's a split verdict, now the focus is on what is it that these 2 judges are not concurring on. Remember, during one of these hearings, you had one of the judges who said perhaps the Karnataka High Court shouldn't have gone into the aspect of deciding whether hijab is an essential religious practice. Is that something that this bench believes? Or also the argument or the demand that this is a judgment that will have far wider ramifications across the country, not just in Karnataka, will also perhaps set aside a few high court orders as well and impacts thousands of women. Possibly there is an argument that was made that this should go to a larger bench and this decides on the rights of several of these women, so it should go to a larger bench. Is this something that these 2 judges have taken into account, or if they are differing on that as well? These are 2-3 crucial issues, but one pattern very clear here. In the Karnataka High Court, the argument was around convincing the court that this is an essential religious practice. Once this came to the Supreme Court, there was a course correction by the legal team. They wanted to make it more about individual right, privacy, as well as freedom of expression. On these 3 counts, they were saying that this should be taken into account. And despite however you interpret the kind of Islamic scriptures that are there, these 3 aspects of the constitution should give them that right to wear the hijab. That was the larger argument that we have seen here in the Supreme Court.
I'm going to spell out the order that Ananya Bhatnagar is reporting from the Supreme Court of India. The Supreme Court judgment, it is out. Justice Hemant Gupta and Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia have given a split verdict. That's the news that we confirm to you here on CNN News 18. Justice Hemant Gupta has pronounced the judgment and said that there is a divergent opinion, which means that the 2 judges don't have a unanimous opinion. Justice Gupta has upheld the Karnataka government circular enforcing the uniform and banning any kind of religious dresses. So the one judge on the bench, which is Justice Hemant Gupta, he has dismissed, he has upheld the Karnataka government order, which means he agrees with what the Karnataka High Court had said earlier. Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia, the other judge on the bench, says he has allowed the appeals and said that it was a matter of choice for Muslim women. So the 2 judges have different opinions on this matter. What happens from here on? In all likelihood, this matter will have to be referred to a larger bench. What does a larger bench mean in a scenario like this? It's open to the Chief Justice of India. The petitioners and the state in this case are going to make a mentioning before the court. In all likelihood, they're going to make an official application. And then a 3-judge, or if there is a demand for a constitution bench to be sat down, then a constitution bench might be formulated. But that's totally up to the Supreme Court of India, to the Chief Justice of India. Right now, the Karnataka High Court order stands in law because the Supreme Court has given a split verdict and law doesn't operate in void. Because right now there is no clear answer that has come from the Supreme Court of India. It's the Karnataka High Court order which is final, which means hijab so far is not an essential religious practice. There is no stay by the Supreme Court of India. And secondly, the institutional norms will be respected as spelled out earlier by the Karnataka High Court. I want to cut across back to Harish, who's with us on the broadcast. Harish, take us through the key arguments, key points that we have heard during the discussion and what Ananya is reporting from the court.
Well, 3 crucial points here. One, remember, there's no relief. So, as you rightly mentioned, the fifth order of the Karnataka government, which was upheld by the High Court of Karnataka, stays in place. Now, yes, in all probability will be referred to a larger bench. We have to see if before that hearing happens, if the council wants to convince the court that there should be a stay. That was their strategy when they approached the Supreme Court. Initially as well, the argument that there are hundreds of girls who are not going to college in this academic year because hijab is not being allowed is something that possibly will come up once again. Second, how does the state view this? Because the state all along said that the High Court has upheld our fifth order in complete totality. They haven't even in a way questioned any of it. That whole order has been upheld. Now that you have a dissenting judgment here, will the state government now change its argument when this goes to a larger bench? And also the fact that this was something that the council was asking, saying that this is a judgment that has wider ramifications, a larger bench should address it. Perhaps that's something that has been brought here. But the fact that one of the judges says that it's also a matter of choice, perhaps somewhere the council for these girls would believe that at least some of those arguments that they made in the Karnataka High Court, which did not really get noticed or get noted by the High Court there, has been perhaps accepted by at least one of the judges here. We also have to wait for the order on the other crucial issues and what the court has said about it. Remember, there are at least 7 to 8 crucial points on which we've had arguments. It also concerns not just to wearing hijab, but where will you take the religion? In fact, the Karnataka Council is saying not every religious practice is covered under Article 25.
Absolutely.
Does the court say anything on that aspect? Because these are